Hello, friends and family of Knife Delights. I had to come out to this secluded location. I had to be by myself because I'm feeling all of this shame. I owe you on this channel and everybody that's viewed and subscribed and supported me, I owe you a big apology. You see, it's been all a scam. He discovered it. Canadian cutting edge. He nailed it. I'm incompetent. I don't care. I'm running a dishonest channel. I didn't know. I didn't know that the most important thing about a knife was to measure the angle of the grind and make sure it's consistent throughout the blade. I really didn't know that it was a big deal on a budget knife, which, you know, I do a lot of budget knives. But he wants us all to join together and help him out, and he wants us to come clean. That, you know, we're really incompetent here. So I'm coming clean. But I'm hurt. I'm really hurt. It goes beyond what he said. I'm mad at my father. You know, my father, 92 years old, grew up on a farm. As a matter of fact, when he was still a little boy, Grandpa was still farming with horses. 92 years, all he ever carried was a simple little, you know, slip joint knife like this imperial knife. And when my dad taught me about knives, he never, ever told me that when I went to the hardware store to get a $3 knife, I should take a gizmo with me to check to make sure it had an even grind on that blade. I'm questioning all my father's wisdom now. I mean, how in the world could he survive on knives like this without knowing whether it had a consistent grind from the factory or not? He misled me. See, there's my excuse for misleading everybody else. My father taught that to me. Yeah. And my grandpa, I'm sure grandpa, that's what he had for a knife. Oh, I can go further. I'm deeply hurt from the old man that was my neighbor that used to let me go run his trap lines with him in the winter. This man was a true outdoorsman. I mean, he could skin fox and mink and musk. You name it, he could skin them in his sleep. Maybe he used an improved muskrat knife. I don't know. All I ever saw him use was a simple slip blade, and when he would get done skinning for the day, he'd sit down at his workbench and he'd say, this is what you do when you get done skinning every day. Just lightly give it a few strokes back and forth. I never saw him have a gizmo or a meter or something to make sure that he had an even grind on there. No sirree, he misled me. You know what advice he gave me? He told me, don't over sharpen your knife. He believed too many people did, and you're wasting steel on that blade, and you're wasting the life of that blade. That was his thoughts. How could I have listened to him? Oh, decades and decades of experience of skinning and doing everything outdoors with a pocket knife. I should have never listened to him. That's why I've been scamming you, because I was taught the wrong information from these old men. Yeah, these old men that depended on their pocket knife their whole lives. I don't know how they survived without S35 VN steel. Oh, the humanity. We can go even further. Look at this. This was a budget knife. If you call $20, you know, budget. This was handmade in the Philippines. They used cheap carbon steel on it, probably an old leaf spring. You know what? When I bought it, I was a fool. I didn't check to make sure all the degree of the edge was even. Although I did go do jungle surviving through jungle survival training with a bunch of the natives there, and they taught us, you know, how do we clean wild boar with this. They taught us how to, you know, chop bamboo with this, how to use this particular blade shape right here, the importance of it. But they never, ever talked about what's most important about a knife. And that's to make sure that that grind edge is within 0-degree variation from the tip to stern. Man, I feel like catching a flight going over there and finding the fella over there that, sold me that knife. I'll give him a few words. Of course, I will say you want to be careful with some of them indigenous people, because they settle scores by cutting your head off and putting it on a pole. So maybe I'll leave them alone. How did they survive for hundreds of years without a gizmo to check to make sure that they had 0 variance in their edge? Oh man, I'm surprised they even survived. My channel, when I started it, I put it on my channel page. It's still there, never changed it. I put down a statement, something about, I don't know if it's education or discussing the pleasures of collecting knives, something along those words. I never claimed to be an expert on edges. I never claimed to be an expert on sharpening knives, how to get that correct apex. Not my gig. I collect knives. But someone out there, this Canadian Cutting Edge, tagged me in a video that called me incompetent and, well, dishonest, disingenuous. I don't know what exactly the words were. I'll put them down in the description. He put a lot of my friends' websites down there too. You know what? We love collecting knives. I've never misled anybody. But to my viewers, to my subscribers, here's your chance. If you think I've been misleading you, hit that unsubscribe button. I started this channel because I love collecting knives. And that was my goal. We've worked tirelessly throughout the knife community to build bridges, because there's guys out there that, take these big chopping knives, big bolo knives, and they go out and they cut and they hack and they test them. Well, I'm not into collecting a lot of big knives. I don't have occasion to go out and do a lot of chopping, and if I need to, I've got this, and yes, this does the job. But I watch their channels because I learn from their channels. I'm still interested in their channels. There's all kinds of channels out there. Channels that show a lot of modern folding knives and the flippers. I don't buy a lot of them. That's not my interest. My interest is in the old slip joint knives. My interest is in these and the history behind them and the companies behind them and the men behind these and how these knives came about and how the blade shapes came about. I really don't think I've misled you on any of that. I think I've made one recommendation. Now, he also made the charge that we're being lazy and we're not checking out the grind angle to see if it's consistent across the blade, and we're angry, and yet we're recommending knives, and we're doing a disservice, and perhaps we're doing it just to get clicks on our videos. Well, I think I've actually only recommended one knife, and this one, which ironically is a Canadian-made knife. I did run some tests, the tests of accessibility and the grip on it for wintertime use when you're wearing gloves or as a peace officer, and that was the angle I took it from, having all kinds of dish soap and stuff on here to make my hands and gloves slick to see if I still had a good grip. And I pointed out one of the reasons I thought it would be a good knife, especially for a first responder, is because it had this bridge up here. So in the winter time, when you're out running service, even with a glove on, you can get this knife open. I guess that's not important. I guess what was important was I was supposed to go, and yeah, he told us we're supposed to go out and buy a gizmo to check out and make sure that that grind edge is perfectly zero all the way across, or I'm lying to you and I'm misleading you. Well, I'm not buying a machine to do that. That's not the focus of my channel, and how dare you tell me how to run my channel. And folks, if you think he has any regrets, he doesn't, because he just released another video saying, I know I was going to piss some channels off. That's all right. I got people agreeing with me and my channel's growing. Oh, great example. So I guess I find a channel that's smaller than mine, and to make mine grow, I should just go out and start trashing smaller channels. Oh, I'm a small channel. My voice doesn't matter. The king has spoken. The king has spoken. All bow, mighty Canadian cutting edge. You the man. You the man. You know, there was a this I don't know if you call him a radio host, a blog host, something. He got in a bunch of fire by a whole bunch of groups, and he was unapologetic about what he said, and I'm kind of unapologetic about what I'm saying now. But you know, he kind of ended his little tirade or rant with a kiss my ass. That's how he ended his. Now, I would never ever say anything like that. So please, I've deceived you. If you feel like unsubscribing, I'm trying to work up a tear here so I can be sincere. Please unsubscribe. I'm sorry.